This is EARL FLORA. The night before the 1970 Hambletonian, within the carnival atmosphere of the DuQuoin State Fair, Stan Bergstein and I had the opportunity to sit down with several of the drivers and discuss the big race shaping up for the next afternoon.
Stan Dancer, how big a thrill is it to have that boy sitting alongside of you driving in the Hambletonian?
Well, this is a great thrill. I'll probably be more nervous with him driving into it than I would as if he wasn't, but it's a great thrill. Have my son driving in the race. It seems like yesterday he was sitting on my lap.
Ronnie, at 12, you were only interested in showing pigeons. Now at 21, you're one of the youngest drivers ever to drive in the Hambletonian. When did you get the harness racing bug?
Well, it wasn't until I was in high school that I really got interested working during the summers with the horses. And I also got out from under my father's wing and worked for Del Cameron. So I was really about 14, 15 when I started working with the horses. But prior to that, it wasn't that. I followed them, but I never worked with them.
Vernon Dancer, what's the story with Victory Star? What are your chances?
Well, we've had our problems this year with Victory Star. He's had a hock problem since we raced him in the Dexter at Roosevelt with bothering him. We got that in pretty good shape just before Vernon Downs, and then he came up with a splint, which has been bothering him ever since. I trained him here last Wednesday, and he trained real good, and I'm hoping for the best tomorrow.
Frank Irvin, this is your 16th Hambletonian. Would you say this race carries more significance than any other in the sport?
Yes, I'd compare the Hambletonian to the Kentucky Derby. With the sports world is focused in on DuQuoin, the Hambletonian every year for this one day, which they can't get with any other harness race in the United States.
Howard Beisinger, a year ago, you took the Hambletonian and the Big Five with Lindy's Pride. You said at that time you'd just taken each race one at a time. What about this year with your Hambletonian entry, Paris Air?
Well, here again, I've been taking one race at a time, and I've been hoping all season he'd be good enough to start in the Hambletonian. I don't know if he is, but he's a nice colt, and with some luck, I think he might get some money. But, it's certainly a little more relaxing this year than it was last year.
George Schulte, does relative inexperience in a colt such as your mount, Luther Hanover, play much of a part in a big field such as this?
Yeah, I think it does in the field. This big 15 colt starting, and I've got the 5-hole, and I'll have a trailer behind me. And he's just not quite handy or seasoned enough to trot with those colts out of there to take advantage of a position, or if somebody makes a break where I could move him quick to get in a place, I'll have to be real careful and just be froze on him. But I think if I'm close to the head of the stretch without having to use him too far, he can trot with about anybody's horse right now, I do believe.
Bill Houghton has won more money and more races than any driver in the history of North American harness racing, and one of the few major classics that has escaped him is the Hambletonian. This year, with probably the strongest contender he has ever had for the race in Gil Hanover, now sick and out of it, Bill looks at the race as an outsider. How does it look to you now, Bill, from the sidelines?
Well, Stan, the other day I was out here to train my horse, and I saw Timothy T. train that day, and to me, he trained exceptionally well. I won him 2 minutes and 4/5, last half in 59-3, and looked like he was well within himself. And as far as I can see, unless he gets in a lot of trouble, he stands out by quite a few lengths.
Bill, no one is more respected in harness racing than you, and no one has done more for the sport. What does the Hambletonian mean to you?
I think it's the ultimate objective you could have in your life as far as racing is concerned. There's other races that you could win some races, have a first value of $300,000. I don't think you could feel as well as you would if you win Hambletonian. You get a thing like this, you know. I'm kind of proud of that. But I think it's the ultimate thing in your profession.
Do any of the others have a chance to upset Timothy T?
Jimmy's got a colt in there called Formal Notice, and they timed him in 2 minutes, in fact, in the Washington Park last week. Jimmy really thinks this is a great horse. And Jimmy's not he's a little, as I say, a little conservative, and I think he's a nice colt, but I think it's just a little bit the luck of the draw, and anybody's got a chance outside of Timothy T. I think he is the best horse in the race.